what's going on? It's your boy Coach here. It's January 1st. Okay, so what's so big about this day? Well, it's a brand new day, right? It's a brand new year. And it's a very important day, and it's actually an advantage, and it's one that we get only one time in 365 days a year. And now we have new opportunities each and every day, but this is kind of the one that's a psychological advantage. I can let go of last year and start all over this year. I have another 364 days to go towards positive change. Something can trigger, something can be started, something, what I call a spark, can kind of go off and say, you know what, I can make change today. This is the year, it's gonna be this year. And I've had years that didn't turn out so well, but you know what? I've had years that turn out pretty good. And this is blank, this is open. You can make it whatever you wanna make it. You can kind of go whatever direction you want. And this is the day you can make that decision that this is a 365 days to be your best, or do your best, or learn more, or just do whatever, you know, move towards your goals. That's kind of what I see today as it's starting, and it's a huge advantage. Now, in my opinion, to get through December, say without any weight change or staying the same, to me, that's a win, because most of the time, a lot of us have, say, different festivities and family things. All the holidays just draw about, you know, just random plans and randomness. If you follow the Xform series, you'll see that I have, say, different struggles throughout December, but in habit shifting, December's a rough one, and December's a good trial time. And that's actually why I kind of did it this way, because that way you see my December, how it went in the Xform series. And when you go into this December, you can say, hey, you know what? Coach made changes in November. He didn't wait until January 1st. He started making these changes long ahead of time. Right now, there's the future ahead. It's waiting for you. Where do you want to go? Have you started setting sub goals? Have you started thinking about where you want to be? Oh, January's already going to be over for me when this comes out. So who knows where I'm going to be at that point? You know, what happened? Was I able to stick to my goals? Did I have to change anything? That's what's kind of the beauty of seeing ahead, beginning with the end in mind. It's a concept out of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So if you've read that book before, then that'll make sense. So there's no losing this for me. I win-win, and that's actually one of the positive mindsets I have. It doesn't matter if I lose weight in this or I don't lose weight. It just shows that this is a hard battle. It's something that you struggle with. It's the reason why everybody doesn't get to their goals. And if I do get towards my goals, and I do say get the losses and the physique change that I expected, then that's also a win, because it's motivation for people to say, hey, look, he made change and he was in a rough place. I'm sure there's been ups and downs in the process, and that's the whole thing in this. When you're kind of building this long-term journey, there's gonna be ups and downs. It's the whole point is as long as it's going in an upward direction, that's what I call progression. Now, if you're doing, say, you're having goods and you're going low, and over time you're going, that's what I call setback, and you need to, say, learn from that and say, okay, what needs to change to get back in that positive direction? And it's gonna depend. There's so much variation in how we have lifestyles and habits and environments, etc., etc., etc. You've gotten to the 1 month point, congratulations, because at this point, 75%, they gone. The original 100 bodies I talked about that would be starting a New Year's resolution in the 1st of January. We only have 25 of them left now at the end of January. So in the world of calories, I like to see them as weeks. And this is really important because you'll have averages. And we'll go over this stuff in future videos about, you know, how I kind of strategize. But if you can get 1 month of data and just kind of see, you know, any differences in your body or your waist or the scale, if you've been consistent, then you're gonna know, you know, how your calories are doing based on those macros, how you're feeling. Let's go ahead and get a scale measurement just to see where we're at, to where we can talk about the results, talk about a number of topics I want to go through today, especially because it's that month end. I got my waist measurement. We're gonna do a scale measurement. I'm gonna do pictures tomorrow morning because it's already late in the day. I generally like to make sure I'm consistent with my lighting the best I can be, and, you know, say the time of day, because I'm gonna look a little different. It's actually been about 8 weeks since this process has really started in terms of developing, say, my spiritual growth, my mental growth, and then getting ready to do the physical growth and changes. So my biggest advantage then for, say, this week is gonna be the new year. January is a monstrous advantage in the world of, say, health and fitness, brand new, and everybody's ready to go. So I'm gonna have that encouragement around myself. There's gonna be people that are supporting me, and people I'm gonna be supporting and encouraging, just because that's just the natural advantage of being in January. And a lot of people are trying to do this stuff, especially as you get older. There's more people that say want to lose weight, be healthier. You have the understanding of people when you say no, or hey, I'm doing this, you know, I'm trying to be a little bit better, trying to be healthier. People are gonna be like, great, and they're gonna push you forward. When you keep this journey kind of pushing through into December, you may not get that support through Thanksgiving and Halloween and all those times where we eat, say, calorie dense foods, or, breaking bread with our families and friends. it's something that you might not get as much acceptance to say, hey, you know, that's a little bit too much for me, or I kind of trying to stay away from that. You might not get the support in the later half, or say the end of the year, versus what you will right now. My nutrient density has been slowly getting better, and really my overall goal is to be about 80-20. That's pretty decent balance, where 80% of, say, the calories I bring in, or the macros, whatever you want to call them, they're just what's best for my body, best for my energy, best for how I can process the day and be in a good mood, and, you know, just live life in enjoyment. Because if I start, say, pulling carbs down, or, you know, just pulling calories down, that's when the misery kind of starts, or the suffering kind of gets worse. Even though I'm shooting the Xform and I would like to lose a little bit in the first 4 weeks, it's not essential, and it's really kind of not really my point is to lose weight. It's to change how I see the world and improve, say, that mental restriction I had of, oh, I can't eat that because this is going to be so many calories, or now this is going to be so many carbs, or this is going to be a lot of fat. I didn't do that this year, and so that's a huge improvement for myself. Someone mentioned a really interesting saying, it's memories over macros, and I use that this season in terms of, hey, you know what, let me just kind of enjoy this. Let me kind of take a mental break from, you know, the calories and the discipline, because that's going to come here in January, February. This is the very first, say, December that I've ever had where I didn't really focus so much on food and the calories and how it was going to impact my physique, and if I was going to have to work out harder to take it off. I really didn't focus on that. I focused on my relationships, the conversations, the memories I was going to make. So this is the first year I've ever gone into January more confident than ever. And not just because I have weight to lose, it's just because I feel my best. My strength is really good right now. My injuries are minimal. My mindset is in the right place. Spiritually, I've grown so much in the last few months. I've been reading a lot more in scripture, but specifically for me, it was in one of my favorite books. It's called The Servant Leader, and ego is edging God out. And it's something that I've tried to work on and kind of put myself on a shelf, let's say, and just focus more about how I can be, you know, a helper to others and do better things in life. 2022 in general was a place where I had to kind of learn to separate from, say, these eating disorder like mindsets, body dysmorphia mindset, where I focus so much on my physique, do things like body pinching, check myself in the mirror a lot, or I'm so focused on everything looks like calories. And I really learned to, say, not think that way anymore, or try to unprogram that thinking. So mentally, between where I am now and where I was a year ago, it's a huge difference. And for me, that's going to be what's best for, say, a balanced lifestyle. And I'm hoping to continue that for the most part. When I'm just going about life, I'd like to know that I can separate that and just absorb the world around me, see things that, you know, that I'm kind of blinded to because my mind is somewhere else. It's about what I'm going to do for my fitness today, or what I'm going to eat later, or when's my next, you know, meal, what's in my meal, what am I going to eat this weekend. So really kind of unprogramming those things. I've done, I think, a great job, and I've had definitely a steep climb mentally. The most important one, especially that you don't see now, is where my heart rate has changed. So when I did the Apocalypse diet, I went up, it was almost 15 beats per minute at rest. 75 beats per minute heart rate at rest is not very good, I don't think, compared to, I was at like 60 before I started it. And then now the last couple weeks, I'm back at 60 again. So already some improvement. So that's kind of huge. And that's things that you can't see. And what I'm trying to say is that, see these slow, gradual things, I'm taking them and I'm going one step at a time, and I'm trying to climb. Because if I try to jump in this huge direction, what'll happen a lot of the times, I'll kind of fall down. And then, you know, it's hard to know. Or if I came up and I came down a little bit, but I made a little progression, like, well, what changed it out of all those different variables? And so that's another thing that's coming in, and I don't know if you've already caught into already, is making small changes reduces the variability and knowing what got you the results. So when you have one variable you'll change, that's what's best, I think, in terms of, okay, if I change something for a week, did anything go? And in dieting, or let's even say in the endless system or the endless concept, I put in there that I don't like to make dietary changes unless I've tried them for 2 weeks and then I found no difference, or say it wasn't towards my goals, then I can make the adjustment, 2 weeks. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing this week. Is in my nutrient density and calories, I'm going to be, say, fairly consistent for 2 more weeks and seeing where this scale, where my physique looks, and if my waist changes any, hopefully around 4,000 calories a day, but more nutrient density. And let's say not so much just eating out calories, because we're going away from some of that since the holidays are all said and done, and people are going to be supportive, so I can get back to my meal prep, make my hopefully about 6 meals per day, and try and push them around 500-600 a piece. And then that's going to get me in, a little bit extras in there is going to get me to my 4,000, and I'm going to not feel cheated, and I'm going to hopefully my performance is going to keep going up as I keep going throughout these weeks. So none of that's going to be reflected, and to me, I actually feel healthier, especially compared to 30 days ago where my cardio was really bad, really tearing the Band-Aid off, trying to jump back into this, and I did it slow. Man, it was hard to get some of the jogging in. And in fact, I can't run anymore. And I've been jogging this last week. I just jogged a little bit just to see, how that's gonna go. And I'm very slow compared to where I was, but at least I'm doing it now. Something that's really interesting when it came to the InBody, when it comes to my pictures and my weight, something that you can't see that I can because I've been tracking it, is I've gotten stronger. This is the strongest I've been probably in 5-6 years, especially at 40 years old. I know that as time goes on, I've trained smarter. I don't really lift heavy anymore, and that's not my goal. But one thing I have been tracking and trying to do is make some weight goals in terms of lifting and strength. So my squat, I kind of started at about, it was like I got to 225, maybe when the 4 weeks started, about 4 weeks ago is when I squatted 225 for about 5 reps. And then I kind of progressed that, and then I got to 265 last week, and I'm hoping to get 285 today, for 5 reps. And I'm not trying to 1 rep max, just to kind of, more than anything, use that strength just to see if it helps me build a little bit more while I'm at this weight. My bench press has gone up. I pushed, it was like 195 for 5 reps, on my last set. So that was on like the 6th set, which is pretty good for me. And then I did deadlifts a couple weeks ago, which I was up at 285, I think, and getting to 300 is kind of my goal on that one too. So just to kind of, and really I noticed my grip strength is kind of the weakness there, since I haven't been training a lot of different things, especially when it came to holding the bar. I noticed just some weakness. So, and the InBody difference between when I started Xform and to where I'm at 4 weeks later, the results are probably something I would have worried about in the past, because I saw that I lost muscle, my weight's relatively the same, I still have the same body fat, and I would have kind of freaked out over that, versus now I'm just like, hey, the numbers are what they are. My diet's been a little bit different, the last few weeks, just because the holidays. My approach in this advantage for next week is going to be different than it was many years ago, just because I have different goals and I have a different approach. And I've learned things over the last couple of years that I think this is an opportunity to help others, to, be an encouragement out there, and, be a support system, and, just kind of, see those out there who are trying to make change and keep them going. I'd actually love to see, people making those changes and to continue out, not just through these first few months of the year, but just to keep on going throughout the rest of the year. That's what I really like to see. I think that's what I like best about January. It's one of my favorite months of the year. Not because it's cold or snow, but really that's when people consider making change, when they start making change. And that's something that I'm looking forward to the rest of this month, and seeing to where I can change and seeing how others are changing. So it is Sunday, it's time to do meal prep. It's been a really busy weekend for us. Family plans with friends. I haven't had a lot of time to be at home or to go do grocery shopping. And it's 3:30 right now. So normally my prep is done way early in the morning, just to make sure that's out of the way and that I'm done, I'm ready to go for the week. This is gonna be difficult because I'm exhausted, I'm tired. I really want to use today as a rest day, give my mind a little bit of a break to just sort of chill out. If I don't do this meal prep, I already know my week is not gonna start on the right foot. I have this monstrosity of food. I know I need to make at least 5 meals per day in order to at least get most of my nutrition in. What do I do? How do I approach this? You don't have to have meals that are complex. Sometimes they can just be basic. They can just be thrown together. But at the end of the day, just make sure you have something in place. That's why I am gonna do some prep, but I'm gonna take some shortcuts. And that's one of my hot tips of this week, is in protein supplements. And so most people, we talk about whey protein powders, things like that. I'm gonna be using a lot of that. Now, do I prefer meat? Sure. I think that I feel a little bit more full when I'm eating food versus, having it in a powder form. But that's okay. There's some weeks where you just need to get it done, get something in there to make sure you're gonna start off successful. So this is PB2. This one's a powder, and a couple different versions of whey, and there's all kinds of different ones out there. But just know that there's some weeks when you don't have a lot of time, you can whip something together super fast. And I'm all about doing things quickly just to make sure I have time to do other things other than cook. Let's get started here. This is very intimidating, but I'm gonna make these really fast. If I can give myself 45 minutes or so, 60 minutes at most, to give myself at least 4 meals a day, I'm on a good start for this coming week. Yeah, there's just gonna be those times when, you know, life gets ahead of us and we get busy doing other things, but it's still not an excuse to squeeze in. If it's for your diet, maybe you only need 2 meals per day to keep you on track. Maybe you only need 1 meal that's a bigger meal and it's gonna keep you full. It just, like I said, it depends. You can make things super quick, you can make them easy, you can make them taste good. You just have to prioritize it. It would be easier to go sit down and rest now, but I know I need to get this done. Otherwise, my week is not gonna start off in the way I intended to, so.
Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day.
If you could just go ahead and make sure you do that from now on, that would be great.
I'm also gonna need you to go ahead and come in on Sunday.
Did you see the memo about this?